Ibrahim is the first PMP of 2022. Abhishek, Mr. Hisam Khan, one of my student Palisa, Anirudh, we have Jangir with us, Ali, Abhilash, Sabir, Asad, Manish, Abhishek, Mr. Jamal, Mr. Amer, Alvin, Neha, Mr. Raju, Pradeep, Amit, Rashmi, Amana, Uzair, Said, Rash, Ghulam, Muhammad, Aarti, Pawan, Tariq, Iqtidar, Numan, Mandar, Mosam, Niju, Abraham, Wasim, Ahmed, Janjua, Aj, Usman Khan, Afzal Ali. So here we have my 100 certified PMP in 2022. And now here we have Christopher, cleared PMP with all above target. He is my 130th certified PMP. Christopher, straightforward, the guy who recommended you, Subhan, is saying congratulations. So, Christopher, how do you feel?
I feel great. I felt like I was very well prepared.
That's a confidence I just really love. I'll come to that. How you got that confidence, Christopher? Can you give us an introduction about yourself, where you are from, and when
Sure.
did you plan to give PMP, and what PMP means for you, please?
Sure. So my name is Christopher Hansen. I live in the northwest corner of Pennsylvania, just north of
Mhm.
Pittsburgh, and I work for a large-scale industrial company. And my projects tend to focus around locomotives. And it was last year during a review with my boss where he suggested that I enroll in PMP to gain some more insight on how to better manage my projects. And so, not only for me was it a requisite of my job, but it was also a means for me to be better at my job and better at other aspects that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. And so that is why I got into PMP. I think my first day was
Okay.
March 11th of this year.
March 11th of this year, and we ended our batch program. Uh, I would say 20th, 24, 24, 5, I guess, 20th of that. And of less than a month, you are certified PMP with all above target. So, can you share the level of confidence that you have? How did you get that level of confidence?
To be honest, you laid it out pretty straightforward for me. It was, following the lessons that you laid out. I made a few tweaks here and there, but for me, it was, mind mapping. It was doing the mocks and doing the root cause analysis. But it wasn't just getting them all done. It was how I did them and making it, a priority every day to get something done, so that I never really had a day or 2 days go by where I wasn't involved in learning about PMP. And it was that consistency built over the 4 weeks that gave me the confidence that I knew I was going to go in and I was going to be able to dissect the questions appropriately, understand the concepts, and come up with the right answers.
Hmm. So if I rephrase it, consistency is the key to pass PMP. Consistency as a general is the key for everything, but in order to pass the PMP, it's more than intensity, it is consistency. What XP or what Agile says, that sustainable pace is the most important thing. Whatever the time you have, you put it into that, and then you work into that thing, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about root cause analysis. Doing the root cause analysis of the questions, how important is that?
It is the most important, and I took it an extra step. So not only did I do it on the beginning mocks, I did it all the way through. So as we got into the 6 mocks and the final mocks, I continued to do that. And what I was doing then is I was categorizing them, right? So as I got something wrong, is it from the stakeholder section? Is it from the agile section? Is it this? And then I actually Paretoed where I was doing the best and worst, and that helped me focus my efforts. So for a while, I was struggling with agile, as I could see by the answers I was getting wrong. So I went back and spent some extra time on Agile. And then by the time I got to the final mocks, I was doing much better on it and wasn't missing much at all on the Agile. So it was a great tool to allow me to understand where my strengths and weaknesses were when it came to the contents for the PMP.
Okay. And you kept on sharing that root cause analysis with me. Like if I look at that six set RCA, six set RCA
Yep.
processes, everything that you have been putting down. And now, of course, once you have cleared the PMP, with your approval, I will be sharing that as a good practices with other
Yeah.
students how to do that. Okay. What do you think about the utilization of elimination technique in solving question?
I think it's absolutely appropriate. I'd say probably 75% of them, you could eliminate 2 right off the bat. Um,
Mhm.
I think, though, as you do more and more of the mock tests, I think the right answer starts to pop out at you. It
Mm.
starts to become much more evident. Now, the elimination of these is it's a great technique, but I think if you go through and you really study and you take the mocks, I think it just becomes much and much easier for you that there's times where I didn't have to use it. It almost like popped right out at me. But I highly recommend that, on questions where you don't know the answer right off the bat, do it that way. They give you plenty of time. And so I don't think that you're going to run the risk of going over if you do use that elimination technique.
Hmm, thank you. Okay, Amir is saying your batchmate, he's following up, he's coming back along the side with you. Congratulations, and he's incredible. Okay, Sabir Jamil, my certified PMP and co-facilitator, Usman Khan, co-facilitator and certified PMP SP, a PMP RMP saying congratulations. Mary, she did PMP in 2 weeks, few days back. Okay, we have few questions here. RSA is the key along with the study the videos. How did you manage time in the exam? Or 3 questions. So you did say that RCA is the key to that along with studying
Yep.
the video. Mhm. How did you
Yep.
manage time in exam? So I'll come to that question. I'll come to that once we come there. How many hours
Okay.
do you study? Do you use to study in the before exam?
Uh, this morning, I actually watched your 2 hour or your PMP and 2 hour video. That's all I
PMP
did
and
this
2
morning. But
as
before
a
that,
general.
I was
Yeah.
yeah, just it's a great refresher going into it. I'd say prior to that, I was spending, about 2 to 3 hours a night. I was trying to get one topic done a night. And then when it got
Mm.
to the mocks, I was trying to get 2 mock tests done and the RCAs a night. So it wasn't so much that, I had to, not be with my family or everything, but it was enough that I kind of laid it out in a schedule and it worked out good. I'd say I was a few days off the schedule because of the Easter holiday here in the United States, but overall, I was pretty close to hitting my schedule by setting myself up with 2 to 3 hours a night.
Yeah, yeah. On the Easter days, I was messaging you and I did not get the update. I said, okay, he's maybe busy in the Easter, but now I'm happy with the Easter going on. You clear that with all this. Okay, you attended the 6 days training program. But is there anything in the exam that was not covered in our courses or mocks?
No, no. Everything, it was very much like the mocks. I mean, different words, but the situations
Mm.
were all relatable. Um, it was heavily weighted on agile, I would say, in terms of the types of questions and the
Mhm.
types of scenarios. There was very little in terms of straightforward,
Mhm.
like, they didn't ask you very much like, hey, what is a program or what is a portfolio? It was all very much, um, where you had to understand the concepts and apply them. So from that standpoint, 180 of those questions, it can be quite a bit. So, use your breaks. I think you get 2 breaks in there and make sure you're dividing up the test time in a way where you don't feel so overwhelmed because it can be a lot all at once.
Okay. Yeah, there is a little bit internet problem from my side. Okay, so can you continue with that? How did you basically manage that time?
Yeah, sure. So during my mock tests, I timed myself. So every time I would do 60 questions, I would record the about the amount of time I had, because I know my pace. My pace is about between 45 minutes and an hour per 60 questions. And so as long as I was tracking to that, I knew that I was progressing through the 180 questions at a rate that I wasn't hurrying, but I was still going to make my time. So I encourage everybody to understand, because you're going to take a lot of mock tests. And so understand what your average time is. Give yourself some markers so you can say, okay, A, I need to speed up a little bit, or I can slow down a little bit based on where you're at in the test at any given time.
Hmm, hmm. So you start where you went to the exam in center after all the check-ins. You there was 7 minute tutorial, 7 or 10 minute.
Hmm.
It was 7 or 10 minute tutorial.
Yeah, it was a 7-minute tutorial on how to highlight and how to do different things within it. They do allow you to use the elimination technique like we talked about. So it talks you how you can
Mm-hmm,
do that on the computer. I
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
advise running through that once just to see, just to make sure.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Then your 2 30 minutes started for the exam. So how much time you took for the first, second, and then how much time you had for the third one?
So I started at 11:30, 31, 32. So I think it took me about 45 minutes per each set of 60.
Oh, 45, 45, 45. So you had a lot of time remaining at the end of the exam. How much time you had at the end of the exam?
A lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I recommend like taking 80 minutes for the first 60 question, then 75, 75.
Yeah.
So I guess you had a more than 1 hour after the exam, right?
Yep. Well, a lot of it is, with the preparation, I didn't feel like I needed to spend a lot of time. I felt
Hmm,
like I
hmm.
had a good grasp on the answer. I went back a couple times and looked at some things, but for the most part, the preparation put me into a position where I was able to go through it a pretty decent pace.
Okay, okay. Okay. That's a good thing to put it in the context. Okay, let's see. Uh, Apart from the agile, which area was the most dominant in the exam? People domain?
Yeah, there was a lot of people, a lot of
Was a
stakeholder stuff. Not a ton of risk, a little bit of risk. Very little about scope and schedule. A little bit about cost. I think there was only one question on there, maybe two, about like earned value, um,
Mhm.
CPI and SPI, which I was surprised. I thought there'd be more on there. So it was a lot of people, a lot of team, a lot of agile, just a lot of how to deal with people.
How to deal with the people. Same, the Mary gave the same feedback. Even she put it in the WhatsApp group. This guy's focus on conflict management, emotional intelligence, training needs, and virtual teams. That is an important thing. Okay, so Amir is saying that is that case we can move forward to the question that are taking longer and then come back to the attempt. Did you face such scenarios like maybe you have to mark the question, leave it for the later,
Yeah.
and then come back? Okay,
Yeah,
okay, you did that.
so for every set of questions, you're able to flag them. So if you're not sure, it allows you to keep going, and then at the end of your 60 questions, it asks you if you want to review them. And it brings up everything where you can go back and review the ones that are flagged, answer it, then take your flags off, and then go through and finalize it. Once you finalize the 60 questions and hit next, you can't go back. So they had it divided into 3 sections. And at the end of each section, once you did your final review, you couldn't go back.
Okay. Okay, okay. So that's a good way to put it in the context how things are working with that. Okay, so let's see a little bit more about that. While you were preparing the exam, Amir said that anything that also did you see any question that you think were out of domain, out of syllabus, and we haven't covered anything?
No, no, everything was covered through the mock tests. just about
Okay.
every scenario, and all the scenarios are very similar, to be honest with you.
Scenarios. You did so many questions. I don't want to put all the number of questions, but if we put the question, number of questions, it is more than 2000. So when you have 2000 different scenarios,
Yeah.
so of course, scenario starts repeating itself. Okay, so you have given us a lot of information. Your final advice to PMP aspirant who are preparing for the exam.
Hard work and consistency. Do the mock tests, stay consistent, and do your root cause analysis. You'll be ready before you know it.
You will be ready before you know it. Thank you very much for your time. And I know you just cleared, and I asked you, okay, let's record it, because that I wanted to have that thing. But you know that your batch needs you. Each one teach one, like Subhan did for you. He referred you, you cleared the exam. First of all, I would be requesting the same thing from you. More
Sure.
importantly, now you are more of an expert on the PMP. So when in the PMP aspirant group or in the batch group, whenever people ask for help, I'm looking forward from you for that assistance, because like Usman, like Mansoor, I am counting on my certified PMPs to guide other people, to coach other people, to work with them, because I have more than 200 people in line, and I am trying my best. You know that how we do the follow up. Oh, by the way, how do you think the follow up works? Did you like it?
I love it. I love it. That's one of the main reasons why I took this. It's like having a coach. And
Thank you.
in sports, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're gonna have to pay the price. And so it keeps you motivated, because you don't want to disappoint you, right? So like
Yeah.
if I say, hey, I'm gonna get this done, and then I don't, I feel like I'm disappointing Amir. So I wanted to make sure that I stayed on my schedule, and I made the schedule where it wasn't too demanding, but it put me in a position, to be ready to take the test in a fairly short period of time.
Now now you need to provide that to other people. So let's hope. uh, I know you have a busy schedule, but let's see how we can add into that, maybe help other people and work into that way.
Okay.
And most importantly, enjoy your time. You did work very hard in this
Thank
thing,
you.
so enjoy that time with your family, and best of luck for future endeavors.
Thanks, everybody. Good luck.
I would have not been able to clear the exam if Amir Ali would have not been there. I would have not been.
I did not believe that I will be able to clear my PMP within a month.
I don't know what to say actually. Like I'm kind of like really
And I
trembling.
got my results and I was above target in all three categories.
Wow.